Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to the news cycle on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Shehu Said. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Now the news in full. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, Akure Zone, has accused the federal government of misrepresenting the status of negotiations with the union, adding that newly established universities are mere crisis centers. Addressing journalists on the campus of Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Osun State, the ASU Akure Zonal Coordinator, Professor Adeola Egbedokun, said despite the 7-year moratorium placed by the federal government on the establishment of new universities, it still went ahead to announce new institutions. Senate has taken a significant step towards modernizing the country's military legal framework. The Senate passed for second reading a bill aimed at repealing and reenacting the Armed Forces Act with updated provisions to align with Nigeria's constitutional and security realities. The bill, sponsored by Senator Abdulaziz Eradua, seeks to establish a modern, constitutionally compliant, and operationally responsive legal framework for the armed forces of Nigeria. Topsy Gimba reports.
Senator Yaradua explained during plenary that the current Armed Forces Act dates back to military decrees of the 1960s, last consolidated in 2004, and no longer meets today's demands. He emphasized the need to align military governance with democratic accountability and to modernize disciplinary procedures.
Many democracies, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, including the United States, United Kingdom, and South Africa, have modernized their military laws to ensure justice, accountability, and professionalism. Nigeria cannot afford to lag behind. This bill therefore places our military legal system in step with global best practices.
Senator Ali Ndume from Borno South lends his support, describing the reform as long overdue.
This is what this bill is trying to do, to update the laws, subject the armed forces to civil rule, and also improve on human rights, protection, and others, and efficiency.
Senator Tahir Mongono called the bill a necessary move to bring military authorities under democratic control, while Senator Samson Ekong of Akwa Ibom South called it a profound step to deepen the nation's defense policy framework.
Seeks to subject military authorities to the command of the commander-in-chief, that is democratically elected president.
Trouble with behind this bill as part of a wider process of reform that will deepen the contents of our military law and jurisprudence.
Deputy Senate President Barau Jibril, who presided over the session, put the bill to a voice vote. He later referred it to the relevant committees on Defense, Army, Air Force, and Navy, directing them to report back within 4 weeks. The bill now awaits further committee review before advancing to a next legislative stage. Topsy Gemba reporting for Global Television News.
The House of Representatives has called on the federal government to take immediate action to tackle a worsening erosion disaster in Osok community in Ekori Anaku Ward, Odukpani local government area in Cross River State, which has already displaced families, destroyed lives and property. Global TV's National Assembly correspondent Aniete Patrick will give us details later in our subsequent bulletins. Concerns about vote buying continue to dominate conversations as Nigeria ages closer to future elections. Many citizens say the practice is now more brazen and needs urgent attention. Global TV correspondent Zahra Nasir reports on growing public frustration and the calls for stronger action.
Vote buying is an election campaign violation that occurs in many countries, which undermines the integrity of electoral processes and is detrimental to democratic governance.
On the streets of Abuja, Nigerians are voicing deep worry over the rising trend of vote buying. To many, it is no longer a hidden practice but an open transaction that places personal gain above national interest. Those who spoke to Global TV described the act as a deliberate attempt by politicians to exploit citizens' economic challenges for selfish political advantage. They are urging voters to understand their rights, resist inducements, and protect the value of their votes.
The problem we have is we, the poor masses, or we, the people, we don't know even our rights. Because if I know my rights, you can't buy my vote. As a youth, sometimes hunger, we forget what will happen next than what will just happen now.
Stopping it, well, it depends. Nigerian politics is one politics that we don't know how to fix it. But the politicians, they know what to do about this. They should stop vote buying and let's be civil in whatever thing we are doing.
Our politicians are the most selfish set of people, and I don't think in the nearest future they will be willing to change. It's an attitudinal thing.
James Ogochukwu, Regional Executive General Secretary of the West African Civil Society Forum, says the persistence of vote buying is tied to poverty and worsening economic hardship. He explains that unless citizens are properly sensitized, especially at the grassroots, vote buying will continue to thrive.
Because a lot of Nigeria actually this depraved. If they know that they can get money that can buy them food for that particular day, or can even give them food for some couple of days, they will be susceptible to that kind of vote buying.
He also emphasized that security agencies must remain neutral and courageous enough to go after anyone involved in the act. According to him, credible elections cannot be achieved if law enforcement is compromised or selective in its operations. Zahra Nasser, reporting for Global TV News.
It was an atmosphere of nostalgia, laughter, and heartfelt connection as the Federal Government Girls College FGGC Owerri All Girls Association Class of 1980, fondly called the Vivacious Icons, held their grand reunion and anniversary celebration in Abuja. The event, which brought together accomplished women from various parts of Nigeria and abroad, was more than just a reunion. It was a celebration of friendship, resilience, and shared memories built over 4 decades ago within the walls of FGGC Owerri. Global TV's correspondent Ogochukwu Mobuno completes the report.
It was a colorful homecoming for proud alumni of FGGC Owerri, class of 1980, who converged to mark the 45th anniversary since graduating from one of Nigeria's foremost unity schools. The class of 1980, who are fondly called Vivacious Icons, celebrated the legacy of the college in shaping accomplished women in leadership, education, public service, and enterprise across the country and beyond. The president of the Old Girls Association Class of 1980, Carol Alex Uzoma, described the reunion as a moment of gratitude and rededication to the values of discipline, unity, and excellence that define the FGGC spirit.
We are here for our global reunion. Our girls are coming from all over the world for our shared memories, for what we hold dear, for what Federal Government Girls College will relate to us, built us up, that we are proud citizens of Nigeria, proud Nigerians. When we think of Nigeria, we represent Nigeria.
Some of the Old Girls class of 1980 women took turns to reintroduce themselves to express how they feel about the reunion.
Whatever you see today, the woman I have become, the foundation started in FGGC. That I cannot take away. Wow, I give credit to my alma mater. What I am today is actually what I gained from my alma mater, the foundation of my education, the foundation of my career as a corporate person, and the woman I am today. I actually benefited from that, from my alma mater.
The events include sharing fond memories, plans for their upcoming election as it ends with joy and celebration. With 45 years behind them, the old girls of Federal Government Girls College class of 1980 says their mission continues to inspire the next generation of women leaders and to preserve the proud heritage of the FGGC family. Ogochukwu Mobono reporting for Global Television News.
Good old days there. You are watching the live broadcast of the news cycle. When the news cycle returns, House of Representatives approves budget push for Nuga Stadium. Details coming shortly, plus business and foreign stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. We begin the second segment with business. The National Pension Commission is renewing efforts to expand pension coverage across Nigeria with a new plan designed to bring millions of informal workers into the retirement savings system. At the Pension Correspondents Association of Nigeria annual conference in Abuja, PENCOM outlined its strategy to capture nearly 80 million Nigerians through its revamped personal pension plan. Business correspondent Kikelomo Okere takes it from here.
For years, Nigerians' pension coverage has remained heavily skewed towards the formal sector, leaving a vast majority of workers, artisans, traders, farmers, and freelancers without any structure for retirement. Speaking at the annual conference of the Pension Correspondents Association of Nigeria in Abuja, the Director General of PENCOM, Omolola Oloworanran, who was represented by the head of corporate communication at PENCOM, Ibrahim Buwai, reaffirmed the Commission's commitment to ensuring that every Nigerian, regardless of employment status, can look forward to secure retirement. She noted that Nigerian workforce is largely informal, yet this group remains severely undercovered.
Today, we reaffirm our commitment to ensuring that every Nigerian, whether formally employed or not, has the opportunity for a secure and dignified old age.
PENCOM says the new pension plan came from the need to redesign the old micro-pension scheme and make it more flexible, digital and inclusive, ensuring that people with irregular incomes can register easily and contribute at their own pace, noting that the new framework offers simplified registration, mobile-based contribution channels, and flexible saving options. PENCOM believes these innovations will encourage millions who previously saw pension as complicated or inaccessible to come on board.
What the personal pension plan has done is that it now brings even the voluntary contributions segment that the formal sector employees hitherto made under the formal CPS. Those contributions will now be captured under the personal pension plan. And the idea really is to offer more flexibility.
Earlier, the President, Pension Correspondents Association of Nigeria, Nana Musa, says there is need for public awareness, trust building, and technology-driven systems to deepen participation nationwide. Musa commended on only sustained engagement, education, and policy support will convince millions of informal workers to embrace pension savings.
Dedicated to deepening public understanding of pension matters, we believe in closing this gap is central to achieving sustainable social security, reducing poverty, and promoting inclusive growth.
With the new plans, pension hopes to grow long-term savings, strengthen financial inclusion, and secure the future of millions of Nigerians who currently have no retirement support structure. Kikelomo Okere, Global Television News.
The presidential nominee for co-chairmanship position on the board of Unclaimed Funds Trust Fund, Obehi Adeswa Okafo, has assured the Senate of productive investment of the fund if her appointment is confirmed. The nominee gave the assurance during her screening by the Senate Committees on Finance, Banking, Insurance, and other financial institutions. Here is Topsy Gimba's report.
The resolution followed a motion raised by Hart Godwin, who said many oil and gas firms are yet to comply with the Host Communities Development Trust Fund provision, a key feature of the Petroleum Industry Act, designed to ensure that all producing communities benefit directly from exploration activities. Under Section 240 of the Act, each oil company is required to contribute 3% of its annual operating expenditure into the fund, while Section 236 mandates that such trusts be incorporated within 12 months of the Act's commencement. But Godwin told the House that several operators have either ignored these provisions or failed to remit the funds, leaving host communities in neglect and hardship.
Mandate the Committee on Host Communities to investigate the failure of regulatory agencies to act decisively.
The House has now directed its Committee on Host Communities to investigate both the oil companies and the regulatory agencies responsible for enforcing compliance and report back within 4 weeks. In a related development, lawmakers also resolved to probe the financial dealings of NNPC LNG Limited. The House Committee on Gas Resources is to examine the operations and remittances of NNPC LNG Limited, a Cayman Island registered subsidiary of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, amid allegations of unreported financial transactions and possible revenue losses to the federal government. Lawmakers expressed concern over deductions from liquefied natural gas proceeds allegedly made without due authorization or disclosure.
Without a formal notification, disclosure, or approval of the federal government, thereby raising serious concerns of financial improprieties.
Both committees are expected to submit their findings within 4 weeks, part of what lawmakers describe as renewed efforts to enforce transparency and accountability in Nigeria's oil and gas sector. From the National Assembly, Aniete Patrick reporting for Global TV News.
We sincerely apologize for the mixed-up. That report was on unremitted funds of the House of Representatives and was brought to you by our correspondent Aniete Patrick, and not on the screen of the nominee by Topsy Gimba, as we earlier introduced. We move on to the foreign scene, where Ukraine's ambassador to South Africa, Alexander Shaba, has urged South Africans not to get involved in Russia's invasion, saying in an interview that 17 men were tricked into joining mercenary forces. The South African government last week has said it received what it described as distress calls from the men who were trapped in the epicenter of the fighting in Ukraine's Donbas region, begging to bring them home. Over to Uyi Agbomofebe for details.
South African presidency said the men aged 20 to 39 were lured into joining mercenary forces on the pretext of lucrative employment contracts, without saying which side they were fighting for. However, local media outlet News 24 and Kiev both said they were on the Russian side. There is a legal dimension to the situation. It is illegal for South Africans to join foreign armies unless authorized by the government.
They have been recruited in violation of South African law, which I would imagine would be something that South African government would like to talk about with the Russian government. And by the way, if it's true that some of South African politicians were involved, then it makes the whole situation even more precarious.
The war, running for well over 3 years, has dealt a devastating blow to Russia and Ukraine, even though some analysts estimate that Kiev is on the receiving end.
Both sides are bleeding. Both sides are losing people. So Ukraine's position in this at this point of this war, with the front line not moving one way or another, just let's stop where we fight.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has ordered an investigation into the recruitment of South African men as mercenaries after News 24 claimed that the men were sent to Russia by the MK party of former President Jacob Zuma for security training. Uyi Agbomofwegbe, reporting for Global TV News.
We move to the sports scene. The Confederation of African Football and the AFCON Morocco 2025 Local Organizing Committee has announced that fans traveling to the tournament will be eligible for free electronic visas. The governing body said the announcement comes amid growing global demand for Africa's biggest football event, with more fans booking tickets. The policy benefits citizens of countries that normally require a visa to enter Morocco. And back home, the National Assembly says it will ensure that key Nigeria University Games Association NUGA projects, including the proposed sports stadium for the 2025 Games in Jos, are captured in the federal budget. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, gave the assurance during a visit by NUGA delegation to the National Assembly in Abuja. Aniete Patrick reports.
Receiving the NUGA leadership on behalf of the Speaker, Chairman of the House Committee on Sports, Kabir Amadu, said the legislature is fully committed to strengthening sports development across Nigerian universities. He assured that the Speaker has already taken note of the ongoing and proposed NUGA projects, especially the stadium development plan for the University of Jos, and will work to ensure they are provided for in the national budget. Amadu added that the House Committee on Sports is targeting a system whereby 2026, every Nigerian university will have a functional sports complex or mini stadium capable of hosting international competitions.
I want to assure you that from the Speaker's office up to the Committee of Sports, you have our sport 100%. 100%. For this 2026 budget, I assure you that from the office of the Speaker and also from the committee, we'll definitely going to accommodate some of your projects in this 2026 budget.
Leader of the NUGA delegation, Goshen Obed, said their visits aimed to deepen collaboration ahead of the 27th edition of the Games at the University of Jos. Obed said NUGA is seeking the National Assembly support to complete outstanding projects valued at 13 billion naira to enable the university host international standard competitions.
University of Jos, they are setting a pace in sporting activities in the country. They are building state-of-the-art facilities that can host any international tournament. And they intend to leave a legacy projects after the NUGA Games. I'll leave the games. Some of the games are ongoing in the facility, some are not completed, so they're using other facilities within the state. It may interest you to know that the main ball is being upgraded. There's a new hockey pitch, cricket pitch, and 10-lane Olympic-style swimming pool, which is being built.
Meanwhile, 91 universities are currently participating with several key facilities, including hockey, cricket, and indoor sports halls already completed, while others remain under construction. Aniete Patrick, reporting for Global TV News.
And that's it on the news cycle, but a quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using @GlobalTVNG. I am Sheikh Said saying hope to see you later on News Prime at 8 p.m. Thanks for watching.